Bitcoin's fallen down over the last week, and while people's natural feeling, their natural instinct is to wait and see how it goes, and they don't want to touch something that's going down in price, this is actually a great opportunity. There are reasons that I'm going to lay out in this video that make this much more attractive than when we were at all-time highs. And again, it is against your natural instincts to believe this. Every other asset, every other thing that you want to buy, if it goes on sale, you're excited about it. You're happy that it's on sale. With assets, a lot of the time people get worried, especially if it goes down day after day after day, or you think it's going to go down more. So I want to go through why it's very attractive to buy Bitcoin on pullbacks and why you might want to consider it. Of course, do your own due diligence. I don't know the future, so I can't tell you necessarily if we're going to go down tomorrow. All I'm going to show you is how much more attractive Bitcoin is now than it was just a few days ago. If you want to trade crypto, I've been saying this, that now is a great time to trade because we had a perfect setup. We had a perfect setup where we had flipped this prior resistance into support, and then we're coming back down, and that line coincides almost exactly with this descending channel. So we bounced right off the point that I was talking about. Now is a great time to trade because we're still not far away from this. I did this in the Telegram group yesterday. I told everyone that I was placing a trade right around here on Ethereum because we were getting very close to the previous resistance that I thought would be flipped into support. And what do you know? We are up on that position. Let's see, about 20%. So if you want to start trading, there's a link to BYDeFi underneath the video. You can start today and you get access to this trading competition where you just get given prize pool money, or you can win prize pool money. Check this out underneath the video because there's $18,000 now. After 12 days, we could have tens of thousands of dollars by the time we start paying this out. And anyone that's ever signed up gets access to this. Join the Telegram too because you might get access to one-on-one support for BYDeFi in case you have any questions or concerns. There's a link to that underneath the video. And trading really honestly isn't terribly difficult. It looks like I'm down on this position, but this is also the position that I opened when we fell down to 112,000, 113,000 on Bitcoin. We rode it up on a 60x, then flipped it into low leverage. So I'm actually still up about 60% on this position. So honestly, it's not terribly difficult if you have some patience and you're not greedy. Now, I want to show you these numbers, right? Naturally, people get worried during pullbacks, but first, let's just look at this. Pullbacks are completely normal. Bitcoin drops even more than 8%. It drops double digits sometimes, so I wouldn't be too worried about this. We've gone down 8% and bounced back over 1,000 times on Bitcoin. So don't worry, right? Just stay long-term focused and you're going to do well. However, if you're looking for a buying opportunity, these pullbacks can be pretty lucrative. So let's look at this. Bitcoin's price, let's say you bought it last week at 123,000. We're not even picking out the exact top, but let's say you bought it at 123,000 and you think it's going to 150,000 this cycle. Okay, that is a 22% gain. If you think it's going to 200,000, that's a 63% gain, etc. You can see if it goes down to 10 million, you're going to make like a 80x on your money. Now, on the pullback, it's actually more attractive, especially if you think maybe we aren't going quite as high this cycle. So let's say, again, you just think we're going to 150,000. Buying now, after this $10,000 pullback, just an 8% pullback, gives you a 50% better return if we go up to 150,000. Like that's pretty crazy. A 50% better return just from this low pullback. If we go to 200,000, you still get a 14% better return. If we go up to 250, it's a little bit less important. As you can see, if we go up to $10 million per Bitcoin, you're going to get good returns no matter what. Obviously, you'll get better returns if you buy at 113 versus 123, but you can see it's much more important if we don't go up exponentially. If you have a 10, 20, 30-year time horizon, it doesn't quite matter as much because the gains are going to be so much bigger. On leverage, it also is even more lucrative to be able to jump in after one of these pullbacks. And I'll actually show you the numbers after I explain why. It actually decreases your risk so much. First of all, there's a lower chance of profit taking. When we go up to new all-time highs, there are a lot of people that automatically take profits, right? They see, oh, we went right above the prior resistance. I'm going to take profits now, and I'll take some more later if we keep on running. So naturally, people take profits. So when we're 113,000, a lot less risky than 123,000, where you know people are going to be taking profits. Also, you have a much better idea of the support and resistance. Like when we're hitting new all-time highs, we're in price discovery. We have no support and resistance lines up at 130,000. So at 123,000, you're very close to just running out of any kind of logical data. Compared to here, there are people that play with support and resistance. There are people that will come in. There are bots. There are traders. So they are going to try to buy the bottom, and that naturally can push up the bottom, right? That can naturally push up the price. So much safer if you're trying to base buying or trading on any kind of technical analysis. There's also much less of a chance of a liquidation cascade. When we've already come down and wiped out a lot of the long leverage and people have repositioned, the chance that we see a 5 or 10% move is a lot less. So if you're on 10x leverage, the chance that we see a 10% move now is so much smaller than it was a week ago. There's so much more cushion too. Like if you're on 3x long, you have so much more cushion after a 10% down move. And it's even more important with more aggressive positions. So at 10x long at 123,000, you would get liquidated around $111,000 or $110,700, which, what do you know, that's very close to where we were recently. So if we break down just slightly lower, you could get liquidated. However, 10x long position at 113,000, it's much more strategic. We would have to fall down almost to 100,000, and even then you could just add a little bit more margin to get your liquidation price below the psychological level of 100,000. So there's just so much better knowledge that you have about the market, about technical analysis, so much more cushion, so much less risk when we've fallen down like this. So if we go up to $150,000 on leverage, you would actually make a much better return. Obviously, if we go 5x leverage, you get 5x the returns that you would if you were just buying spot. Again, this shows how powerful this is. You have lower risk and you still make 50% more if we see the same size move. And honestly, these kinds of pullbacks don't affect the long-term price potential of Bitcoin at all. It's not like because we saw an 8% pullback, we're less likely to hit $1 million one day or $10 million. No, it just wipes out some of the leverage in the market and allows new buyers to come in, allows you to get a better price that's less risky and gives better return. So again, at the end of the day, you might be more scared, more worried to buy at prices like this. And it seems like there's more of a chance that we'll fall down in the future, but actually there's less of a chance that we'll fall down in the future. We have more profit taking, less people that are just trying to get a short-term profit. And you have people coming in to buy the dip that are excited about a 10% discount. Again, less risk, more potential upside. So I just wanted to give you guys a little reminder how the numbers work out and why it's so lucrative if you can buy dips like this. Every single dip that we've seen this cycle has been bought up. Every single time we saw a macro resistance flip into support, we saw big moves afterwards. Of course, that could be wrong this time around, but if past results are any indication of the future, this is a pretty decent opportunity. Now, of course, we could fall down further, right? I'm not telling you to go out in 10x, 20x leverage, 50x leverage or anything. The majority of my leverage is in low leverage, so 3 to 7x. A lot of those are at opportune times where we've seen pullbacks. I'll get in either with more collateral or I'll go a little bit more aggressive. Like last week when we saw, or a couple weeks ago when we saw this dip to 113, I saw us flipping the previous resistance into support. So I went very aggressive. I did a 60x. I took profits. I rolled it back into a lower leverage position. And even though we're back down where I opened that position, we're still up 60% because we went aggressive, caught the bounce, and then de-risked. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Again, check out BYDeFi if you want some free money, if you want to start trading or buying crypto too. You can always buy from BYDFi as well. There are also links to BTCC, BTUNIX weeks, and BLOFIN underneath the video. BLOFIN, a lot of people have been liking this. You can trade crypto with crypto. Same thing with BYDFi. It's called CoinM, and you can, for example, stack a Bitcoin with Bitcoin as collateral, so you can actually get your hands on more Bitcoin by trading Bitcoin. Same thing with Ethereum or SUI or XRP. You can get more of the tokens by trading the tokens. Thank you so much. I'll see y'all soon.